I want to talk on the making of a disciple. And this message really, I prepared it with the two brothers in mind because I really want to speak to them. But it is for all disciples. It serves, I love the flight attendant when before they give you the instructions on the airplane, they will say, well, we know some of you travel frequently, but just for you is a reinforcement to what you already know. And to those who are traveling for the first time, of course, those are the things they need to know. So this message serves as a reinforcement to those of us who already know. It serves as information for those who want to be disciples and those, of course, who are already disciples or who are becoming disciples of Christ. Now, one scholar said that there are some words in the Bible that we should not change. There is no mention of the word Trinity in the Bible, but there is the concept of the triunity of God. He said we should not change. They should not have changed John chapter 1, which talk about the Logos. And he also said that we should not have changed the word disciples exchanged for Christians. Because the truth is that in the time of Christ and at the time of the apostles, they never refer to themselves as Christians. Christian is a name that was given to disciples of Christ at a place they call Antioch. It says they were first called Christians at Antioch. And of course, those of you know it, and it's a reinforcement, and for those of you who didn't know, the idea was, it was a kind of making fun of them. Look at them Christians. It wasn't a word that we like to use today that is a respectable word. It wasn't that. It was, you're making fun of people. You're giving them jokes. You're trying to ridicule them. But the church, of course, has learned to flip the script and took that jeering and make it into a word that represents any person who is a follower of Jesus Christ. But I want to maintain the word disciples today because it is said that we have a lot of Christians but not many disciples. And the concept of a disciple is very important for us to understand. It is good to know what you should become or what you should be if you are affiliated with Jesus. And what is expected of you when you affiliate yourself with Jesus. Before you join the army, you should know what the army is about. You should know that in the army, when you join the army, it is not a place to go and really have fun. You'll have fun, but it's not a place to go and have fun. You didn't go there to lime. You go to be trained to be a soldier. And that calls for a lot of discipline. It calls for things that you do not like to do that you have to do because they are trying to make you a soldier. Anything that you really are part of, you need to understand what this thing is all about. and what the end product should be, you should look like. I mean, we we love team sport. I will say something about it. I'm just running quick. I'm saying it, dropping it here and there, not any particular order for now. But let me say this, that to be a great sportsman, we admire these guys, but they really work hard, All these guys you've seen on TV, whoever you admire, whether it be Van Persie or Iron Robin or Neymar or Messi, these guys didn't reach there just by staying home, watching TV, and then they go to play on the field. And you hear them making multi-millions of dollars. And you say, what they do, just to kick a ball? You think it's so easy to kick a ball? A lot of work. They have to do weight training. They have a particular diet that they have to adhere to. They have to be at a particular time when the coach is, they must be present. To know what is the strategy that the coach is designing of how to play the game. They know who playing wing back, who is the center, or who is the goalkeeper, who is the midfielder, who is the fullback. One of the reasons I feel that Americans are so disciplined, because many of them go to the army. Many of them involved in some kind of military training. That's why the government of Trinidad and Tobago right now is trying to get people to go either be in the Scout, to go to Conservation Corps, to give a sense of what it means. Dr. Eric William, what he says, how you call it, the watchwords of a nation? Discipline. You have to understand what the man is saying. The man is saying, we want to create a nation of people. And in order to bring that, we need to have discipline as a people. We need to have tolerance. All these words I'm saying to you is, whether you're on a football team, whether you're in some organization, you are expected to model and be what that organization is all about. And the same applies to being a disciple of Christ. To be a disciple, according to what Jesus said, and there are many things that he said, but I just want to talk about this today. He said to his disciples, go into the world and make disciples of every nation. He said, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And he said, teaching them to observe all things that I have commanded you. Some says, teaching them to obey. That's not an easy task. To obey all things that I have commanded you. Now, Jesus himself gave us the blueprint of really how a disciple is made. But first of all, I want to start by defining what does the word disciple mean. The word disciple it really means a student, a learner. That's what it really means. And disciple, the word is not unique to the disciple of Christ. Disciples in Jesus' day were the students who belonged to a particular school, a particular organization. So the scribes and Pharisees, they had disciples. John the Baptist had disciples. And then Jesus had disciples. But the principle of discipleship is the same. First of all, the disciple, it was a person who was expected to leave his mother and father home. You're supposed to leave home. And attach yourself to the master or your teacher. That's why they call him rabbi and teacher. You heard what Jesus said? He says to one man, he says, come and follow me, boy. Come and be my disciple. Hear what the guy say, well, let me go home and bury. He said, no. Let the dead people bury their dead, but you come and follow me. Forget them. That is heartless. I find that a kind of heartless thing. A man who your mother or your father died, you need to go and bury him. And Jesus telling you, forget that man and come and follow me. He made a lot of statements. He says, the foxes have holes and the birds have nests. He told people up front, you want to follow me? You want me to be your teacher? He said you have to leave. A disciple is supposed to leave his mother and father's house. And it's like when some children go to university, you're going to be a student of the study chemistry or medicine. Most of the time you leave, if not all the time, you leave your mother's house. Like Danny and Shanifa going quite in, she's quite in Grenada. And like many who want to study abroad, you have to leave the comforts of your mother home. And you have to attach yourself to the institution of learning. And you have to, what you're supposed to do is when you go there, you're supposed to learn what you are being taught. Everything that you had in mind, you have to put it aside. All the preconceived ideas you had about what should be and what shouldn't be, you have to replace those thoughts by what the man is teaching you. And to be a disciple, everywhere the master goes, you want to follow him because he's teaching you theory and he's also teaching you practical stuff. There were not established schools in the time of Christ. Of course, the Greeks had their own school. Either you go to Socrates' school or you study under Plato or Aristotle. I think probably Socrates was a student of one of those men. He studied under Plato or Aristotle. You had to attach yourself to them. And wherever they go, and you're supposed to do menial tasks. If they say, go and pick up the rubbish, you have to go and do it. You submitted yourself to them. And the end of what it is, what the teacher wants is for you, he wants to reproduce himself in you. So when he dies and when he's gone, you're supposed to be even greater than him. Every child that goes to school, your teacher expects you to reproduce him or her and to improvise on what you have been taught to be better than your teacher. But Jesus said, was it Matthew 10? I think I gave them the scripture. Matthew 10:24. He says, every disciple, let me see if you have that. He says, every disciple. You can find that one? Matthew 10:24. He said, every disciple is going to be as his master. So, the master was responsible to give you food. He will supply that for you. But you ought to, at the end of the day, you ought to be able to be like your master. So you speak like the master. You can always tell some people what school they go to. As a matter of fact, when you enter the world of work, where you study, they ask you who you study under. You will go to a university and there's no men of repute there. And they will disregard what you know. You have to study under a certain professor. You study under, they will tell you, whether in psychology or whatever, some people were privileged to study under many of the guys who created some of the theories. Well, who you study under? As a matter of fact, there's a brother here, Carol told me, when he went to school, I'm not boasting, but I'm highly regarded, not only in Nazarene circles. And he said, when he said, what should you come? He said, oh, you study under the boss, boy. You're not the boss. You always tell the ministry people under, wherever you come from, who you study under, your tutelage, your tutor, that becomes important. Or even the school you went to now. That's why somebody who said, no, you may say, okay, and I know it is bad. Everybody must be dealt with on merit. But it is something that if you go to a certain school, you're regarded more. Even though you get a C. They say that C is harder than a person A. Because there are some teachers who mark you differently, you know. And they said to make an A in that man class, you have to be good, boy. You have to be good. So when we're talking about Jesus now, that's why you are supposed in the end to look like your master in character and have that knowledge of your master. When the apostles were being persecuted, one of the things they observed, it says, when they listened to Peter and these guys, they know they were ignorant men. In other words, they didn't go to the schools like the rabbi went to. They didn't go to some of these higher learning centers in those days. But they said that these men has been with Jesus, boy. They men talking like Jesus. They men moving like Jesus. They were with Jesus, boy. So what am I saying to you today, my friend? You have to have the mentality, you must be teachable. A disciple must be teachable. And therefore, I say to you, it's to be a student learner. You have to submit yourself to the master. And that is what the disciples of Christ did. Peter, James, John, all these guys, some of them left their career, left their stuff, and they followed Jesus. Everywhere he went, they were right there. He taught them for 3.5 years. Jesus taught them. That's how long Jesus was able to do his ministry as a man. Just 3.5 years. He didn't stay many years. 3.5 years and that it was over. For 3.5 years they were with Jesus and he taught them. You read Matthew chapter 5, and he went up into the mountain and the disciples came unto him and he taught them. He wasn't teaching everybody, he taught them. He taught them how to behave themselves. He taught them what is expected of them. He taught them what they need to pay attention to. He taught them that they have a task to accomplish. And he says to them in the end, he says, now you go and you make disciples. You reproduce now yourself in them as I reproduce myself in you. And in the making of disciples, the first thing, according to Jesus, let me deal with this in the context which I'm speaking today. One, he says, you need to baptize them. So the first element of being a disciple is that you need to be initiated in the community of Jesus. Or let me use the lingo that you understand. You need to be initiated in the life of the church. You will observe, and I think I wrote some of those scriptures, when you initiate, to initiate means, I'm trying to run a little fast, but let me just take my time. To initiate means to be accepted in a group, an entrance of acceptance in a group. It also means a transformation. It represents a transformation of life, a rebirth of new life. So, how they initiate people in the world, in different cultures, are very, different cultures have different ways of initiating people and accepting them in the community. In some cultures, you know when you are a man. In our culture, they tell you when you're about 18, you're an adult. But in other cultures, you have certain things you have to do. And then you're considered a man. You got to go and kill a buffalo. You got to go and fight a lion. And when you come back from there, then you're a man. Long ago, I heard what the father-in-law used to do. They used to give the fella an axe. You want to marry my wife, my daughter? Cut that wood. If you could bust that tree trunk, well, then then you prove that you're a man. You could take care of my daughter. So in certain schools, if you want to join the fraternity, they go through initiation. You have to go through something. If you want to join a gang, there's an initiation process. Somebody you have to go and kill somebody. That's why it's dangerous to join a gang. You know. You have to do something, and then you'll be able to be accepted in the group. But Jesus says that how you are accepted into his group, or let me use the word Christian, or to become a Christian, to become a disciple of his, the first thing you need to get baptized. He says, after you have heard the word of God, of course, the word of God will preach to you, and you believe it, then you need to be baptized. He says, go into the world and make disciples, and the first thing he says that you need to baptize them first. Now, we do the kind of wrong, a difference. We kind of flip it. We kind of say you have to go and do converts class and all that stuff. But that's not what Jesus said. Jesus emphasized what is called a psychological effect. That is so important for you to have a sense of belonging. You know, even though a man says he loves you, and he doesn't put a ring on your finger, even though he's living with you, and you have 5 children with him, you never feel secure. Any woman who says different, well, then something wrong with her. I remember there was a sister in church. She had 2 children for this guy, and they lived for many years. And she said at the end, it's only now I feel secure in this relationship. Now I feel that I am his wife. I belong to him. The same thing is true of Christianity. You know, when you baptize, now you feel that you are a Christian, you know. Even though you may accept Jesus, and that's why there's always a fight when people are about to be baptized. If you never accept it, they say, all right, but the moment you say, I'm going to get baptized, you're hearing all kind of reasons why you shouldn't go. But you're too young. They catch you. You're stupid or what? You in that? Time will fail me to rebut those things. I don't want to go there. But what people tell you, I give you 2 months. There are a lot of people the devil uses to discourage you. And I know on the day of baptism, I have experienced it, and I know you all have seen it in the church too. You have a big converts class for about 20 people, and when the day comes, so you only see 5 up here. They're up to you the Saturday night when you give them the final briefing and try to encourage them. And then I know people, I'm trying to run a little fast, I know people who had to run away from their home. I had to tell my father the Sunday, the Friday, the Saturday night, I said, I go and get baptized. I didn't tell him in the week, I didn't tell him long before. I said, I go and get baptized. I didn't ask him, I said, I go in. Because he didn't want me to go there at all. I was telling some of the brothers, he said, listen, I baptize in a fountain, like what we have here. We don't do baptism here again, really. Maybe sometime, I don't know. But my father said, he said, this is dead water, man. He said, when Peter go wrong before you, and you go after, you go and baptize all Peter's sins. He said you should baptize in running water. Maybe you have a point. I don't see that. But he was against that. He said them churches, them a small church. Them as money makers. That's what he said about the church. So the day I went to be baptized, now I hear that noise. I didn't know he come, but he came, and I hear, oh my son. I say, oh God. But I was fixed as flint. Well, I say it's trouble here because he's a man. He fear no man. He only respect God. I said I tried to break up with him, but the Holy Ghost kept him. Anytime you see you're going, people say, no, you have to be baptized to be a Christian. No, my friend. No, baptism doesn't make you a Christian, but every Christian will be baptized. As long as you want to follow Jesus, you must be baptized. That's what Jesus said. He said, he that believeth and is baptized shall be saved. He said, not me. And then he was the one who exemplified the thing. He went and he got baptized too. So if you're here this morning and you have not yet been baptized, you need to. That is the first element after you believe, of course, if you accept Christ, of being